So, hello, brothers and sisters. This is Barbara, and I'm bringing a talk to you today. It's called the Candida Talk, and I'm going to open up in prayer. Abba Father, you are the creator of the universe, and I pray that you would be glorified, that this information would reach the hands of those that you wish to have it, and that they would begin to heal so that they might glorify you through their ministry or their daily walk and grow and not be foggy and not be sick, and understand that that is the way that you can use them to your glory is when they are well and healthy. And I pray this in Yahushua's Jesus' name. Amen. So I label this a Candida Talk, and what I need you to know is the reason that I can bring this information to you is because I suffered this infection in 2014. The information that I'm going to share with you is partly my testimony. I have to give a lot of the information is going to come and is coming from the Candida Cleanser team. So they have it on a website. It's a CCWS. And so I am not needing to duplicate it. So I have paraphrased it. I do have their permission to use it. It's important that you know that the information is not been approved by the FDA, that this information isn't for you to I'm not intending for you to diagnose with this information. It's for educational purpose and educational purposes only. I'm giving you suggestions, and so you take it from there. So Candida is a bacteria that lives in our gut, along with other bacteria. And there's a process by which through poor health, poor diet, and stress and other factors that the Candida bacteria becomes a fungus. And at that point, it is called Candida albicans or candidiasis. And candidiasis technically covers several of the bacteria, of the funguses. Now, the reason that's bad is because when Candida becomes a fungus, it's an opportunistic bug, and it can kill you. So what you need to know is that when your body is out of what we call homeostasis in the science world or medical world, basically out of whack, that's not a medical term, not feeling well, out of balance, Candida begins to multiply. And so you begin to have signs and symptoms of, let's say, lethargy, which is being really tired, foggy in the brain, itching, possibly in different parts of the body. It could be under the breast. It could be, if you're a woman, vaginally, vaginal yeast infections quite frequently. You can have rashes on the face. You can have rashes in the mouth. You can have something called thrush, patches of white in the mouth. And you could even have sores in the mouth. Old elderly people suffer from this often. And so those are some of the signs and symptoms. There are a lot more. Now, the thing about Candida is that it eats and it eliminates waste in your body. So two of the what are called mycotoxins that it eliminates in your body, one of them is called gliotoxin, and it destroys healthy cells in your tissues. And they also target the cells of the immune system, okay? Our immune system was given to us by our Creator, and it's there to keep things in check and to keep you well. There's another mycotoxin waste product called acetaldehyde, and this is a byproduct that's created in the liver as the liver tries to break down the alcohol, and then eventually the liver becomes sick and damaged over time. So the Candida bug, the fungus, then dumps the waste products into the bloodstream. And when there's enough replication, then you become symptomatic. Additional symptoms would be feeling drunk without being drunk. In other words, without having alcohol. Again, sluggishness, poor eyesight, poor gait, stumbling. So you're acting like you're drunk, but you're not drunk. Poor balance, etc. There are, and this information has been basically evolving from the time that I self-diagnosed in 2014, as this product has been around since then, and they have given the Candida multiple stages. So right now, there are stages that are called 1 through 5 and plus. I was probably at the plus stage. But let me go through the stages for you. So stage 1, Candida is mostly affecting the mucous membranes, the inside of the soft tissue of the mouth, nose, the inside of the soft tissue of the nose, but also the top layers of the skin, sexual organs, and the respiratory system. Signs and symptoms of these are cravings for sweets, because the Candida tells you to eat because it's what it feeds on, sugar, but also breads, pasta, alcohol, wine, beer, hard spirits, gas, flatulence specifically, farting, heartburn, acid reflux, bloating. I had said this already, the thrush, the white patches in the mouth, and or tongue. Again, I'm repeating myself here. Repetition is good at times. Vaginal yeast infections for women. Skin conditions like rashes around the mouth, around the nose, eczema, acne, and allergies to foods, severe premenstrual symptoms, sorry about that, bad breath, strong body odor, unexplained anger, rage, bladder weakness, recurring bronchitis, sinusitis, tonsillitis. So the bronchitis would be in the family of the respiratory infection. So moving on, some of the signs and symptoms of stage 2, which would include the ones that I just mentioned, but also then moving on to chronic muscle pain, joint and body pains. In medicine, those are called myalgias. Headaches, unexplained weight gain or loss, depression, ear infections, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, fibromyalgia, endometriosis, acid reflux again, dizziness, vertigo, which is a false sensation of movement, bladder infections, which I already said. Stage 3, again, then you would add all the signs and symptoms of stage 1, and you would move on to stage 2. And so you would add then these also: forgetfulness, confusion, word search, poor concentration, poor focus, unable to think of words. I just said that. Muscle twitching, violence, and aggression. So we're moving on to an even higher level of behavior that's unacceptable. Irritable bowel syndrome, hypoglycemia, or diabetes, thyroid disorders. Moving on to then stage 4, which again can include all the symptoms and all the above stages. You would then add, and these are not all inclusive, okay? You would add the organs begin to shut down, systems begin to shut down, adrenal gland failure, severe constipation, total muscle weakness, hives. And then in stage 5, again, you're having all the other symptoms. Again, they're not exclusive, because there are additional symptoms. And in that stage and environment, our bodies are so toxic that we're in a critical stage. So we need to seek, at that point, medical help. There are other ways of taking care of it also. And that's one of the things that I'm going to talk to you about. we today in our society, we decide that, and it's not we as in all of us, we're programmed into going to the doctor, That's not necessary, only because sadly enough, medicine is not diagnosing Candida. So let's say, for example, you're a woman, you go in for a vaginal yeast infection, which is really common, sadly, but it is. And so you get treated for that when you have probably systemic candidiasis. So if they give you either a suppository or some kind of, let's say, treatment by mouth, it's not necessarily going to get rid of the Candida. I want you to know that. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to go to the doctor if you don't want to. You can if you want to, but the doctors aren't diagnosing this. So then that leaves you with a misdiagnosis, or it leaves you again in a place where you're still infected and it's a problem. Okay, so there are, if you do go to the physician, there aren't really good tests to diagnose Candida yet. And so it's a problem because they're not 100% foolproof. So, they might order a complete blood clamp. They might order what's called a Candida albicans assay. They might want a sputum sample, urine sample, which is not unusual. Some other body fluids, which I wouldn't recommend, like cerebrospinal fluid. I wouldn't recommend that at all. Stool testing, so testing the fecal matter. And so there are tests available. I don't necessarily believe that you have to do that. When you can go online and you can access what's called a self-diagnostic tool, where you're going through just basically answering questions and seeing if you're matching any of the signs and symptoms, and then making a decision about whether you have it or not. I didn't need to do that. I knew I was sick. I have training. I'm a registered nurse, so I knew I wasn't well. The problem that I had was that I had there was so much overgrowth that my brain was foggy, and I couldn't think things through real clearly. So I did seek out help, but I did not use it. So I'm going to go back and forth between talking about Candida, treatments, alternatives, options, and then treatments and my testimony mixed in there. The treatment options are, you can take medication if you go to the doctor, which is probably what they're going to suggest. Some of the medications by mouth would be diflucan, fluconazole, or flagyl-metronidazole. Now, these aren't all-inclusive, so these are only two options. Now, if you have, like I said, a vaginal yeast infection, you're going to possibly get a suppository. All right? There are other what are called natural options, and one of them is called CCWS. It's a Candida cleanser. It's a product out of Thailand that is made up out of palm trees, and it's a plant-based product. The actual pharmaceutical grade product is called lufenuron, and it is an inert substance, and it doesn't hurt you. There is a protocol that the CCWS team has developed for candidates with Candida if they choose to engage in this option, and it's a 45-day protocol. It is a total of 45 days with 3 loading periods. Loading periods being on the 5 days, you take 4 capsules of the CCWS, and with 14 grams of fat per capsule. The reason that is important is because the fat is what carries the lufenuron into the cells. So if you don't take 14 grams of fat, then you're not going to be able to have an effective treatment. You load for 5 days of treatment of the CCWS, the lufenuron supplement, and then you take a 10-day break. And then you do a second 5-day loading period, and then you take a 10-day break, and then you do your last 5-day loading period. Now, what you need to know is when you're not loading, you're healing, and the lufeneron is still working. So that's going to be real important to know. For those of you that don't have the ability to take 4 of the pills during the day, you can double up. These are suggestions that, again, have come from the Candida team as the protocol has evolved. And so you can double up, and so that means you can take 2 and 2, so 2 perhaps in the morning and 2 in the evening. But you have to double the fat. So from 14 grams, you're going to do 28 grams of fat. And fat is fine because our bodies need fat. One of the things that I discovered, I was using avocados when I was taking it, actual live avocados. And so I would eat an avocado with a pill. It's the way that I did it. Make sure I had enough fat to cover me. There are avocado oils that are in the market, and make sure that they're cold pressed, pure avocado oils. And 1 tablespoon of avocado oil equals 14 grams of fat. It's a good fat. If you want to use other fat, you do that, but you need to be aware of how many grams of fat you're taking so that you can have the best result. Now, that means, again, taking a step back, if you're taking 2 pills, you're going to take 2 tablespoons of the avocado oil with the 2 pills, and then in the evening, the same thing. There's something called, I'm going to take a step back there. While you're doing the cleanse, you're probably sick at this time. So what I recommend is that there's somebody doing it with you, that you get a calendar, that you write down what you're doing, starting with day 1, whatever day 1 is, and that you go through and mark that you took the pill, and that someone else is working this through with you. The reason is because you may not remember that, you're on day 6, you're on a break, and then you have to start again after the 10 days off. Okay, so that'll just remind you, the person, your assistant, will help you. But if you have the calendar, that's just another reminder. So that'll be good. The other thing that you're going to possibly experience is something called a quote-unquote die-off. You may not. It depends on what stage you're in, depends on what your health is like, depends on if you're on other vacations, how much stress you have, your diet. So what I'm saying is this, okay? If there's other factors, which for most of us there are, you may experience die-off, which you might get signs and symptoms of a flu, because when the bacteria is dying, you're going to experience the dumping of the toxins into your system in a greater way. And so you're going to have that manifest as a flu-type symptoms. You might get nauseous, you might have diarrhea, you might have even more gas, but just please keep hope, because it's a very temporary situation, 45 days. And again, after the 45 days, you're still healing. And so what I'm saying is that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's real important to keep that in perspective. Don't start and then stop because you have these signs and symptoms. It's important to start and finish so that you can get healed, so that you can have better health. Sadly, I have to share with you guys that there are people, I am one of them, that need to do more than one cleanser. Basically what I'm saying is back to back, and that is also a protocol that is relatively new from the Candida team, from the CCWS team, and you can do 2 protocols back to back. So it would be 45 days plus 45 days. If you want to take a break in between, then you take a break in between. You decide. This is up to you. In other words, you decide how much you want to put out and how much you want to take a break. But you need to do the 45 days so that you can finish and start your healing. At least one cleanser, take a break and do a second, or depending, and again, it depends on how sick you are. You may not need two cleanses. I was past stage 5, so I needed to do a second. By the way, I did not. But I'm about to do my second cleanse, just to let you know. But I'm much clearer than I was 4 years ago when I had a blood pressure of, I think it was 200 over 150 to 60, a heart rate of 130. So I was in cardio, guys, 24/7, probably for a year. I had a blood sugar of 400, and I couldn't see. I mean, literally, my vision was so poor, and I was literally stumbling everywhere. And I'm like, and I knew, as a registered nurse, I knew that something was wrong. And I felt that I was dying. And I don't mean as in feelings, I mean clinically, I was in trouble. Those numbers aren't numbers, first of all, that you ignore. And I have engaged in alternatives to healing for many, many years. And I use supplements, I use essential oils. During the time that I was sick, I changed my diet because I discovered doing research that part of your healing is to change your diet. In other words, you have to decrease sugar intake, and I'm talking probably 95%, and specifically refined sugar, but carbohydrates, meaning breads, pastas, things that turn into sugar, because that's what this blood feeds on. So you have to decrease that, at least for the course of the treatment. But ideally for your health, you're going to do that afterwards also. So, so that you can live, because it's important, because we want to live. That's the whole goal. That's the whole point. And so I did that. I decreased my diet by my sugar intake by 95%. As a matter of fact, I changed my diet drastically, and my diet has been changed since then. I'm a person that I'm up through the night. Not through the night, but I turn my son every 2.5 hours. So I don't get really good sleep, and I haven't gotten really good sleep in 12 years since he broke his neck in 2006. So, and that's just the course of my life. So there's a lot of stress in my life, and so I don't have the benefit of having a non-stressful life. And I don't think any of us do anymore, actually. So, but those are the particulars in my life. So I have to be really attentive to any kind of, let's say, itching, poor vision. If I believe that the Candida is, first of all, if it wasn't completely eliminated, which is what I'm saying, in me, and if I need a second treatment, which I believe, my recommendations would be that you do a Candida cleanser a year, okay? So I'm going to go back and forth again. I apologize for that, but I did say that lufeneron is a pharmaceutical grade supplement made from palm tree extract with natural palm oil methods. And what the what the lufeneron does is it works on the hard shell on the Candida bacteria when it becomes a fungus. So this fungus has become what I call weaponized. And the reason I say that is because it builds a hard shell, and the only thing that can break it is not diet, not starving it, but the lufeneron. And so that what it does is breaks down the skeleton so that it actually has it has holes in it after the lufeneron treatment. And when it has holes, and your immune system can actually go in and break it down and eliminate it. There you go. Now, if you were to take the time to look up lufeneron in the Miss Google or another search engine, you would discover that the product was first marketed, or is still actually marketed, for animals. So it's used and approved for veterinary use. However, if you go on the CCWS site, the Candida Cleanser website, you will see, and they'll connect you to the patent, and you'll see the research on there where they actually treated patients with the lufeneron and cured them, which is why I believe that the product was then not sold as a pharmaceutical grade product. Now, the CCWS team, again, the product is made in Thailand, and it is pharmaceutical grade, safe for human consumption. Now, certain things that you need to know is that when you experience the die-off, if you do, that there are things that are going to help you. For example, charcoal, activated charcoal, possibly with bentonite clay, because they absorb 10 times their weight at least in toxins, and it'll help decrease the symptoms or take some of the toxins out of your body so that you can get them out because you want them out. There's another recommendation by the team that you take magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is a mineral that is essential for life, and it helps relax smooth muscle. And when you have this kind of level of toxins inside your body, you get not just it causes a lot of pain because you're literally, you're just so sick. So magnesium helps while you're cleansing, and it's important to, at the same time that you're cleansing, cleanse your liver. The things that you use to cleanse your liver are turmeric, and I'm talking probably 6 to 12 capsules a day, veggie caps. And you can pack those yourself, or you could buy them pre-packed. Dandelion root and milk thistle. Those three are very, very good for cleansing the liver. And so you have the charcoal, the activated charcoal with bentonite clay, and you have the magnesium. And those two are going to help you during your cleanse. And again, another very, very important aspect of the diet. You cannot forget this. Aspect of the cleanse is to change your diet. And that is an absolute must. Now, there's a group of people that have candidiasis that have to heal, and they actually have to heal their gut because they've been having what's called a leaky gut. And so they have to go a little bit of a different route, not with the cleanser, but they have to heal their gut. Now, on the CCWS site, there's something called a GAPS diet. It's not just in the CCWS site. You can look up GAPS diet, where they're recommending that you eliminate fiber, that you eliminate grains, and that you do some bone broth to start healing your gut, and that you eliminate a lot of foods and then start introducing them slowly. Now, this is not all-inclusive information. I need you to look up the GAPS diet, but it will help you heal. As of my last talk about Candida, I have researched the GAPS diet a little bit more, read a little bit more about it, and now I understand why it's important, because it helps those people with leaky gut heal their gut. So that you can, once your gut is healed, you're not going to have leaky gut, which is not a good thing. Now, the CCWS site is CandidaCleanser.com, and they sell a product called the Candida Cleanser. So, hi guys, I'm back. So I was talking to you about ways to heal, and one of them is the CCWS product that you can obtain at CandidaCleanser.com. And what I was saying, and I'm hoping that this is actually either repetition, if not, you'll hear it for the first time, that there's a website, or rather a group on Facebook called Exposing the Lies Candida, Weaponized Fungus Mainstreaming Mutancy. And you need to read all the information, read all the files on there before you go with that option. It's important to know that that is very different. The protocol is very different. And it doesn't involve a supplement. That protocol involves cabbage, green cabbage, red cabbage, kale, and salt, and thyme, and dedication. And the person that founded the protocol, Jillian Mai Epperly, she explains to everybody that everything and everything you do at your own risk, first of all. That's what this is about. And that you have to put in the time to read it, research it, and make a commitment to healing. Because without that commitment, you're not going to finish. Now, remember, what we're talking about is life at the other side. So whether you use the Candida cleanser product, the lufenuron, or whether you go with the alternative, which is the fermented cabbage, salt, and again, I'm not going to go through the whole protocol because I have not done that protocol. I use the lufenuron, but what I'm saying is you need to know that there are options, and that's something that I want you to hear. And I'm not saying that these are the only options. I am telling you, though, however, that diet alone, which is essential for curing Candida, is not going to kill the Candida. Starving it alone will not kill the Candida. That you need to engage in either doing the lufenuron product from CCWS or doing the cabbage fermented products along with the salt from the Facebook group, which is Exposing the Lies, Candida Weaponized Fungus, Mainstreaming Mutancy. It's real important. Now, I apologize if this is repetition, but what's really important is that you have a buddy to do this protocol with, whether it be one or the other, that you engage in doing research and reading all your options before you engage in doing the protocol, and that you accept there are no risks. What you do is more like you accept the fact that you're going to start and you should finish. And it means that you will be sick in the meantime, but that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel there's health and life. And that's what we should all want, health and life. And so there are alternatives to pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceuticals in and of themselves will not cure it. So you have to understand that. They will not. It may do what pharmaceuticals do, mitigate symptoms. Some of you may need to go to a physician to mitigate some symptoms, but it will not cure it. And your goal is to cure it. Now, the CCWS team does not have a maintenance dose to keep it from coming back. Just giving you that little piece of information. Now, the other group that uses the cabbage and kale and salt, they do have a maintenance dose. But again, both of them require a commitment from you. And so anything that you engage in, you should make a commitment. And you should understand that you have, first of all, the right, and you should have the desire to be well. Because then you could be all that you need to be for Yahuwah and for whatever ministry he's called you to. And so you can't complain about, you won't complain about being in bed, or you can't do this or that, because you're going to be at 100%. That's important. Now, the other thing is that you can get the product, the CCWS product, from me. The difference between me, I'm local in the United States, and the CCWS team, or at ccws.org, or rather, forgive me, CandidaCleanseIt.com, they are in Thailand. That's where they're based. They work through London. But the pharmaceutical grade lufenuron comes from Thailand. And it takes 6 weeks for it to arrive once you order it. They do offer you a money back guarantee for the product. I do not. I'm not going to do that. So if you want the product, I can get it to you. It is $69 plus shipping, but I am not going to give a money back guarantee. And so just to let you know, now you can send me an email at barbaraswisdoms@gmail.com. So that is BARBARAS wisdoms, WISDOMS @gmail.com until my website is up and I can get the product to you. Obviously, you need to send me an email because I need an email address and an inquiry, and we can begin the dialogue that way. And then there's the Facebook for people that are doing the CCWS protocol, and then there's the Facebook for people that are doing the other protocol, Exposing the Lies, Candida, Weaponized Fungus, Mainstreaming Mutancy. So there's a Facebook for both. They're closed, both of them a closed group, and you have to ask to be let in. I think that's pretty straightforward. the mainstreaming group, Mutancy, the Fungus Mutancy group on Facebook, the opinions there are the opinions of Jillian Mai Tai Epperly, and I can agree with her. I believe that people need options for healing. I don't believe that everybody can do the kale, cabbage, salt juice drink, but I believe it's a very viable option. And no, I haven't done it, but I believe it's viable. Kale and cabbage when they're fermented, have probiotics, and the salt helps you heal. You need to read all the information before you engage in that, just like with the CCWS product. The bottom line here is you have the right to heal. You should heal so that you can be the best that you can be. I don't want to ever go back to the place where my brain is contaminated with this bug and it feels like there's a billion spider webs and then you can't think and you're walking around being drunk when you're not drunk. Not that I've ever been drunk. Probably when I was, maybe in my 20s once or twice, but that's it. That was a long time ago. I don't remember being positive, but that was my experience. I don't desire that. I want to always be in control of my abilities to make decisions, which is why I'm here sharing this information and testimonial with you and making recommendations and suggestions for you to make your educated decisions about what to do about the Candida, because it's not being diagnosed in physicians' offices, and our mainstream medical system is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a failure, and I am a medical provider, so that's important to know. So it's going to be, again, either you access, if you decide to do so, the Candida Cleanser product, the CCWS at candidacleanser.com, or the protocol that you would have to join Facebook to access, and that would be the Exposing the Lies, Candida, Weaponized Fungus, Mainstreaming Mutancy group. And so if you have questions, send me an email. I do sell the product, and that would be, the name of my business is Herbs Are Meant for Healing, or Herbs Are for Healing. The website isn't up yet. I apologize for that, but that doesn't mean that this information can't get out and you can access it and begin to heal. I will take orders at barbaraswisdoms.com. It's BARBARASWISDOMS at gmail.com for right now. And I'm saying goodbye, praying that those that need this information will find it, that you can send inquiries if you choose to, and you can begin to heal and begin to be everything that Yahuwah wants you to be, to glorify his kingdom. Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Amen.